Hey, thank you for tuning in. I just want to show you a video that I made yesterday that explains how I painted this landscape onto these two saws. So here it comes right now. Thanks for tuning in. So here's my mission, should I accept it. See these saws? It looks like one big scissor, doesn't it? But it's two hand saws. My idea, this is for Robin's brother Jim. My idea is to paint them to, well, he wants a scene, like a farm scene with what do you call it, a barn in it. Let me turn this around. Okay, so these are the two saws, and you can tell they're pretty rusty. And Robin and I talked about it, and we decided to do it like a what do you call those things? A triptych, except this is going to have two, a dewtick, whatever you call it, and face them tooth to tooth like that, opposite directions, and then the scenery will be painted on the metal. All right, well, I can't tape and paint at the same time, so I'll just do, I'll show you as I make progress, okay? Well, the first step is going to be pretty straightforward. I'm just going to sand it. Just going to rub off as much of that rust as I can. Okay, all right, so I pretty much got them all sanded. I just scrubbed them with this sanding sponge, whatever you call it. And I got a lot of the dust off. You can see the rust. I mean, you can see it's on my pants. But it's probably as good as I'm going to be able to get it. If I had a power sander, I'd probably get all this rust off. But all right, now I'm going to put some gesso on it. All right, so this is what I'm using. This is called gesso, acrylic gesso, and I'm going to use it very liberally. Put a lot on there, and then let it dry. So I'll show you. I mean, kind of it's real simple. There's nothing hard about this, and I'm just going to let that dry on there. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. All right, I got gesso on both saws. It's just brushed on there, and I chose to put gesso on the handles also. That was oh, I did it backwards, didn't I? Oh no, I didn't. I got turned upside down. But anyway, so that was a decision. I wasn't sure if I was going to paint the handles. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with the handles, but putting gesso on it will make it easier to make that decision, I guess. All right. Okay, so the next step, what I'm going to do, you see I've added some orange and crimson red, or very red looking, or deep red looking. And what I want to do first is just kind of brush that on with the gesso. So I'm going to mix it with the gesso. So this is going to be the top. Oops, sorry. This saw is going to be the top, and the other saw is the bottom, obviously. So the sky will be up here, and the grass will be down here. So the complementary color of a sky, blue, which I'm not really necessarily worried about making it exactly blue, because it could be a little bit orangish blue or purplish blue. But the opposite of blue is orange. So I don't want to put the orange paint directly on there. What I want to do is mix it with the gesso. So I'm going to, in essence, put another layer of gesso, this time with an orange tint to it. And again, I can't hold the phone the whole time I do this, but I want to add some of this red to it also, so that it's not one shade. So it kind of goes from the orange down to the reddish, because the grass on the bottom, on the other saw, will be green, of course. But we want to add the complementary color first, and add it as a gesso layer, because it gives it another surface for the actual paint that we're going to be working with to stick to adhere to. All right, this is so hard to do, the camera and the brushing at the same time. So let me put this down, but I think you got the idea. Okay, so now it looks like a red saw, doesn't it? So this will be what it is. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but the top is a little bit more on the orange side, the bottom is more on the red or crimson side. And it's okay, I just wanted something, a second layer of gesso, but this time with a color added to it. And I wanted that color to be more or less complementary to the actual painting that I'll be doing. And that's the idea there. Now I gotta let that dry again. All right, so I have the two saws now coated with gesso and a second coat of colored gesso. And now I'm going to work on the sky. So I've got white and blue, which is the primary, the two colors I'm primarily going to use for the sky. I'm just going to do a little bit. These saws are just balancing on top of one another, so I'm going to have to hold them. But I just want to show you, I'm just going to dab it on there, almost like, almost like pointillism a little bit. I'm going to try to emulate as much as I can a dry brush technique. And what I want to do is I want to make the horizon kind of like this. So I don't know if you can see that. So it's like the hill that the barn will be on. Maybe it should come over here. So go over here. Rather than following the line of the saw, I will make it kind of go opposite the line of the saw. And we'll see if I like that when it's done. All right, I'll show you what I get done. Okay, so now you can see, there's the horizon, and there's the sky. And it's not consistent. It's not one blue as if you're painting a wall. It's like a cloudy sky, kind of like what's happening out there in the real world right now, except a little bit more blue than the real world. The real world is rather gray. But I want this to be, you know, maybe an almost clear day and with some action going on in the sky. Plus I want to keep it painterly, if that makes sense. All right, next I'm going to do the grass, the not the foreground necessarily, but the background getting closer to the foreground. Okay, so what I've done is I've added this yellow ochre or whatever, this yellow and the blue that I had before for the sky. You notice there's no green there, but if you mix blue and yellow, you will get green. And so I'm going to kind of try to mix my own green for the grass, just because and then of course use a lot of that because it's a wild area. Okay, let me just show you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to just dab it in there, try to create just a little bit of a landscape, and I'll worry about the trees and everything else later on. But I just wanted to get the two elements, the sky and the grass, before I put in the barn, which will go somewhere around there, and the silo, barn silo and fence. I'll come back when I get it painted, okay? Okay, so now we have the sky and the grass. And just like the sky is not one solid color, the grass also, it's a mixture of the blues and the greens and the yellows and the yellow ochres, and now we can let that dry and we can build on it and we can create the landscape that we want to create. You know, we're going to put a barn and a silo and who knows what else. Right now it's raining here in real life, so I'll probably have to move because it's coming in through the screen. All right, I'll be back. Okay, well, guess what? The rain is over. Skies are blue. And now I had to think of a way to suspend this so I didn't want it to fall off and cut my foot. See, because I'm barefoot. So now I can continue. I just have to remember as I'm doing it that it lines up like that. Okay, that's what I have to remember. And all right, now it's time to add more paint to it. Yeah, that's hanging up there a little bit. I don't know what else to do. That'll work. I guess that'll work. Okay. Okay, an improvement. Look what I did. I used a clipboard with a rope, and I'm suspending it closer now to the bottom saw so that I can get a better idea of where everything's going to line up. Yeah, now we got it set. All right. Okay, so I took a little time. I used the red and the green to make the red less red, and also for the green less green, depending on the amounts. And I use that. I think that's, I don't know what that's called. That might be Payne's gray or light gray or something, and then the yellow and the brown. And anyway, I kind of mixed it together to create the painting of the barn and the silo. And you see it's starting to happen, and the composition is starting to come together. So I want to make sure I put a lot more things in there. I think it needs a few trees, and I think it needs a fence. So that's what I'll be doing next. I can't hold the camera at the same time I'm painting. The broad brush strokes like I did earlier I could do, but not the detail that I'm trying to do now. And there's the barn. So, all right, let me get back to work. Okay, so now you can see I have painted in the fence, the trees on the horizon that kind of go to the background, and one close-up tree here. That's the space between the saws. Yeah, I'm not so sure how this is going to look hanging up with the two of them together, but I'm not done yet. I need to. I want to create more of a dappled light look over here. I don't know what would be causing the dappled light, so it's probably just a matter of the terrain, coming up and going down and creating shadows is probably what I'm looking for. And the other thing is I want to kind of tighten up some of these areas that are still kind of loose, because of the brush stroke. Sometimes I keep them loose, and sometimes I prefer to tighten them up. So that's where we are so far, kids. Getting there. Okay, well, I think I'm done. Instead of the dappled light, I did a little bit of dappled light, but I added little red flowers. I thought, well, maybe in this field outside this barn, there are some wildflowers growing. So I just kind of gave a hint of some red. It kind of offsets the green nicely, don't you think? So there we go. Now let's see if I separate them, how it looks. I got to undo my pipe cleaners here. Maybe I shouldn't do anything until it dries. Yeah, let me let it dry, and I'll come back and separate them. But right now, I think I like the way it looks. Looks all right, huh? Two saws coming together to make one picture. There we go. All right, well, it came out all right, I guess. And it's dried, and I've already sprayed it with some kind of a glossy varnish. So thank you for watching, and hang in there. We'll have more videos, I'm sure, in a couple of days.